Alright, super excited to get back into another race breakdown. This is from the same course as the last one. This is the Sunshine. This is like not a practice crit. This is the, I think it's either the 3-4, this might be the 3-4 field at the Sunshine Criterium in Integrit Park in Charleston, Rhode Island. And just real quick, we'll talk about the race situation. There's break of 4, I believe, up the road. And this is the last lap from, this is not my angle, this is my teammate Darren's angle. And this is the last lap, I think, and we had sort of talked about the same thing. You know, we're going to start our lead out here. We talked about it a couple times. But you can see it's sort of getting swarmed, and you'll see why in a minute. But here we go, and I'm up here on his left, which, you know, coming into a little bit to go is not really the, you know, on that last stretch is not really the ideal spot to be in for a lead out. It's not great, but so this is the finish from behind sprinting. I think I came 5th in that field sprint. The break of 3 had already finished, and so I ended up finishing 8th. Or one guy dropped out of the break, so it was a break of 3, and then I came 5th, so I took 8th. So here, this is my perspective. Got the speed and heart rate overlays, and then you can see that GPS track in the bottom right as well. Didn't have power yet as of this race. I started training and racing with power towards the end of July of this year, or I guess of 2022. So that was when I first got a power meter. But so I don't have that data for this race. But Darren's right there on the left. You know, we're sort of chatting, planning things out. You know, things are going slow. I mean, obviously we're going like 20 miles an hour. No one really wants to take the front. There is some wind, and you've got this weird fog moving in, which makes for it sort of blurred it ended up blurring the lens of the GoPro a lot. But you know, here we go. You can see the little kid there on the right in the orange. He was so small. Oh man, the draft that he's getting must be so amazing. But you know, on Darren's wheel, we're a couple laps to go, and you know, just sort of staying in there. And I sort of get, you know, we're sort of falling through. We're just sort of waiting. Like, there's not really anything huge going on in the group. Like, we've lost sort of any incentive to chase, and now like we all know that it's going to come down to a field sprint, and so we're just sort of, you know, we're just waiting for now. Props to this little kid though. For him to stay in this 3-4 group for how long was this? For a 50-minute race, you know, it's pretty impressive. So that was awesome to see. You can see coming into 1 to go, everything picks up drastically. Like speed is up. We're up at 27 miles an hour, and it'll stay approximately this fast for the rest of the race. You can see there's like one dip in a corner there on the speed track. That white line there's like one major dip there. Darren's checking behind because that was just the bell lap, and we're coming in feeling good. This race, I was nervous because we hadn't done a race like that was this long together, and I wasn't really sure what my fitness was going to be like. I was honestly surprised I was still in the group, which I shouldn't have been, but I was. The race was really hard up to that point. With the break, there were several hard chase efforts, and groups sort of split up. I got caught behind a split and had to I just like sprint closed it back, which was not the most brilliant idea. So spent a bullet there already, but we're coming into the 3 corners about to go. This right hand, and then a hard left-hander and a sweeping left-hand bend. You can see speed's at 26. My heart rate is at 185. Things are getting pretty intense, but I'm on Darren's wheel, so things are looking good. He's sort of been guiding me through. We're moving up, and coming into this corner, we go a little bit we move a little bit to the right, because obviously this is a left-hand corner. And it's not a dive bomb, but I sort of get pinched off of Darren's wheel there, that guy on the left. If we can rewind that back. Okay, so about 10 seconds before, you can see he's just at the top of the frame there. He's been pulling off the front, and he's sort of done. And as we're coming to this corner, I just don't I should have been more aggressive in following Darren's wheel. But so all of a sudden I'm having to sprint back. I'm off his wheel by a couple bike lengths. And this blue guy sort of beats me to his wheel and then goes around Darren. And so I'm like, oh, well, it's a free ride. So I just stick with this blue guy's wheel. Darren is like, oh, he's there, but I don't really follow his wheel, which maybe I should have, maybe I shouldn't. I'm just a little nervous in these corners. And but I follow this blue guy, so I get this guy in the blue, and so I get a free ride basically until the front, until I can start my sprint with the 5 or 6 other guys that are really contesting it. You can see that guy on the left there with a ton of speed. But yeah, so 5th in this field sprint for 8th, which honestly I was happy with that result, especially for the first race of the season. I sort of go off because there was just movement, and I got a little nervous. Riding in the bunch has always been sort of it's not like a problem for me, but it's something that I'm definitely really nervous about, because a couple years ago or 2 years ago I crashed actually on this course along sort of the back straightaway, or it's not a back straight, but along the back straight, and crashed there because of some movement with the peloton. And so I'm a little nervous about both this course and then people moving on it. But here's that whole sequence again. We'll just watch it one more time. Again, the guy in the white sort of just scared me off in this corner, and you can see sort of we're not riding super close because it's like Cat 3, Cat 4, Cat 5, like we're not very used to close quarters fighting yet. So again, just following the guy in the blue, seeing that it's a free wheel to follow, and it works out pretty well. Again, I get pinched off at this corner just because I'm scared of going into the grass. Whatever, it happens. But honestly, a good result, especially for early season. That was May of 2022. I was really happy with that, and I thought that was, for my second race of the season, I thought that was pretty good. I didn't race very much afterwards. I got surgery that sort of postponed my season, and I didn't really get back into racing shape until August, and then by that point I was in college. But yeah, overall it was a fun race, and I think going into the beginning of this season, and then just trying to work on trying to find some more group rides would be great, because then that means that I'll be able to get a little more accustomed to riding in the wheels and sort of just the dynamics and movement of a group, of a peloton. But yeah, honestly, really good result for this year. Also, make sure that you know that there's prize money. I got prize money for this race, but forgot to pick it up. And by that point, by the time I realized that, when I went back and looked at the registration, they're like, oh yeah, you get like $100 for 8th place, or it was like some percentage of the registration. It was already too late. So make sure to always pick up your prize money if that's ever happening.